Hello everyone, Michael here with the Daily Note 2 YouTube channel, and welcome to another episode. And if you've been following me closely, I apologize for the lapse in episodes. It is because I've been battling two colds, and I did finish shooting a video yesterday, but I was not happy with it, so I decided to redo it completely. So in today's video, what I want to cover are, I want to review Go LauncherEX, and I'll probably review Nova Launcher in another day, probably tomorrow's episode. So to start off, what is a launcher? Well, this is your launcher, right? It is called TouchWiz Nature UX. It is provided to you by Samsung, and I really like this launcher. It is very slick, very fluid, right? There's just almost no hiccups along the way. The only times you might see possible hiccups is when the widgets are loading something, or it is loading something in the background. And one couple of other things that it doesn't do is it does not give you the latest Android UI developments. For example, all the launchers, they all seem to discover a new cool gesture or new improvement on the UI, and they all jump on it. So let's go ahead and install Go LauncherEX. So let's just do a search for Go Launcher, and you should see Go LauncherEX. Just install it. So let's open it. Okay, let's escape out of all that. And one thing you'll notice immediately is when you press the home button, you'll get this new thing that pops up. You have two launchers installed now. Remember, we have the Samsung TouchWiz Nature UX installed, but now it doesn't know what to do when you press on the home button. So since we're evaluating Go LauncherEX, I know it's going to be a little bit of a pain, but just click on just once, right, whenever that comes up. Or if you want to jump back to TouchWiz, just click on just once on that, and we're right back at TouchWiz. Now, if you accidentally click on, for example, Go LauncherEX and click on Always, it tells you where to clear this. For example, now when you want to go back to TouchWiz, you kind of don't have that option, so you need to go to Menu, Settings, then you need to go to Application Manager, then you need to go to All, Go Launcher, and then on the bottom there's Clear Defaults. Now when you hit the home button, you get this pop-up again. Now if you want to completely uninstall it after you're done reviewing it, there's no problem with that. If you uninstall it, it just goes back to regular TouchWiz. So I'll just briefly show you. So just go to your app tray and find Google Play Store. It might look a little bit different, but just go to that, go to Launcher, Go Launcher, right? It's installed, but you can uninstall it. And now it is if it never happened, except maybe the wallpaper might be a little different. Back in Go Launcher, here are the features that you'll gain over TouchWiz. For example, the landscape mode is by default enabled on here when you just tilt the phone, right? And then you could see that the wallpaper in the back, it scrolls, right? Whereas TouchWiz, they don't give you that scrolling wallpaper in the back. And the two things we just mentioned, you can get the TouchWiz launcher to do that with the right widget. And just like TouchWiz or any launcher, they have launcher specific widgets and maybe even little apps here. So they show you a couple of ones that you could download, but hey, I don't really care about those. And while we're on that topic, here is a cool gesture that seems to be available in all launchers except TouchWiz. So you just tap and hold, then you could just fling it away. You don't need to go all the way to the top to the trash can. Just touch, wait, hold on. You could just touch and fling, right? We'll just do these for all of these except these two, because I want to talk about those later. Here are some other things that you could do on Go Launcher. For example, you could take a shortcut and drag it on top of each other, and now it becomes a folder, right? And you could go in here, when you drag it out, right, it separates itself and now it's no longer in folders. And let's do that again, and here's a feature where you could combine folders. Just drag a folder on top of each other, and now they're all in there. Next, let's go to the app tray. And if you ever try to uninstall anything in TouchWiz, you probably thought it was a little inconvenient, maybe even a little difficult to find at first. But all you need to do to uninstall in Go Launcher is do a long tap on the icon, and you get these little X's to uninstall. And if you're thinking what I'm thinking, it looks a little familiar, maybe on a UI that you've used before from another manufacturer. Well, maybe there is a reason why Samsung leaves these awesome features out purposely on the stock TouchWiz launcher. So just want to show you that while we were combining shortcuts into folders, it also works for apps as well. Right? You could just put them into folders. And to add apps to your home screen, it works just a little differently. Just tap and drag to your home screen. And now they're on your home screen. Let's look at the icons in the dock. And this might be particularly interesting for people who have carriers that have locked these icons in place and you cannot edit them in TouchWiz. Well, you could fully edit them in TouchWiz now. For example, say I really don't like the contacts being there, right? So you could just take it out. And here are some other cool things you could do as well, as I've glided over previously. You could just have different sets completely, and it can be more than 2 sets. But I personally would prefer to use gestures, so let's do just that. So for example, I never thought that the contacts was needed in this valuable space, so let's just get rid of that. Now the contacts go well with the phone, so let's long tap on the contacts there, right? And then we could add a gesture. Then let's do an application. Then let's find contacts in here. So after we add the gesture, when you tap on the color, it opens up the standard dialer, but when you flick up on it, it opens the contacts. And I think that is really cool. So let's keep on customizing this. I know that I prefer stock Android browser, but I would like to use Chrome sometimes. So let's do a long tap on that, and let's add a gesture. Let's add Chrome to here. Okay, so we add Chrome. And also, now that we have an extra space on here, let's add S Note. So what we'll do is we'll get S Note. Okay, we'll bring S Note to the home page there. Then we're going to drag that in here. Now you'll see that the S Note icon is kind of like doesn't flow well with the theme, so let's just choose one of these to make sure we have the theme going on. Now I like S Note, but I sometimes prefer to use Evernote, so let's add a gesture for that. Do a long tap on Evernote, select gesture, application, and then we'll just choose Evernote out of here. And then let's keep on going. As mentioned previously, I do not use text messaging that often. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with the text messaging app that I use here in Korea. And this is exactly like WhatsApp Messenger. So imagine I'm putting WhatsApp Messenger in here. And just like I did with Evernote, let's replace the icon with the messaging app. Maybe this one is more appropriate. And then let's add a gesture. So even though 99% of my messaging is done with KakaoTalk, I still use SMS messaging on rare occasions. So let's add the messaging icon there. Okay, and this last thing, a lot of people like to use this icon to launch Google Now, right? If you want to do that, do a long tap, then do gesture. Let's do application, and what you want to put in there is the Google search, right? I believe it's this one. Now when you flick up on it, you get Google Now, and let's just test these really quick. That opens up messaging, that opens up Evernote, this opens up Chrome, and this opens up contacts. Next, Go Launcher comes with gestures that you could do right here on the screen. So when you flick up on it, it's like hitting the menu button here, or when you flick down, it just brings the notification down without you having to reach from all the way top. And if you want to customize that, go to menu here, go to preferences, and then go to application settings, and there are gesture settings, and then you could set the custom gestures there if you want. Here's one little gesture that I found interesting. When you double tap on the screen with your finger or a stylus, it brings up something like quick command. And let's play with this a little bit. So let's create a response. And you'll notice that it works differently than quick command. Quick command, you could insert commands for certain apps. You cannot do that. You could only launch apps, but you could also launch shortcuts. One last thing I want to mention about Go Launcher is all the themes come with these stylized icons, but not for all of them. So let's try switching the theme. So let's go to menu, themes, and I have a couple of ones that I downloaded. May not be my favorite themes, but I just wanted to show you an extreme example. So let's apply this Stitch theme. So as you could tell, it comes with a background, and also it comes with these it looks like stitch patterns, right? And for the ones that it doesn't come with, for example asphalt, it just puts a pattern around it, and it just puts that picture inside of it. If you want to explore more themes, just go to menu, themes, and have a look. There's quite a bit in here. It is a little overwhelming, and it tends to be the case that the good ones that you're probably wanting to try is going to cost money, but there are some free ones. A couple of other things worth mentioning is that when you go to the app drawer in TouchWiz, you're normally seeing 5x5 rows of icons. So if you like that, you could change that. Just go to Preferences, Application Settings, App Drawer, and change the grid size to 5x5. Now it should look like what you're used to seeing in TouchWiz. One thing you'll notice that you don't like about Go Launcher is that in App Drawer, you'll notice that the icons don't transition as smoothly, and I really don't see why it needs to be this way, so hopefully they'll update this in the future. And you see that I added Application Monitor on there. I added that on there to show you that it does not size too well. Just widgets in general just not size perfectly in Go Launcher, so you might notice some cropping of the edges, but as long as we could see the green line there, I think it still works. I'm not sure if I could say that for all other widgets. And one very last thing is that when you pull out the S Pen, you no longer get a Page Buddy in these type of launchers. The Page Buddy only exists in the TouchWiz launcher, and I don't think they'll be making exceptions for the S Pen anytime soon. So anyway, that's the end of today's episode, and I hope you got some good information on how to customize your Samsung Galaxy Note 2. And if you haven't been to my channel yet, please come to my channel and check out my 100+ videos on the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, because I create an episode nearly every day so that you could get the most out of your Samsung Galaxy Note 2. Once again, thank you for watching.